It's about printing.
Okay.
So say somebody uses printing as their main form of handwriting. What if they don't put tails on the ends or on the U's? Like it's just one stroke, single strokes of letters. A U is one, an N is like that, an I is
I see. So there's no final on it.
Exactly.
Okay, sure.
No nonsense.
That's fine. So if you get a word like, let's say one like true. So we'll put true. And that E just stops. Like that. Would that work?
Sure.
As opposed to becoming a garland here. Right? Now remember, garlands are friendly. If we all stood in a circle and held hands like this, we are the world, we are all garlands. And that's the position. It's the hand holding friendly open. This is the trait of generosity. How willingly we give our time and our finances and our energy to other people. So if that's snipped off, that may not be the case. The person may not be generous. They may be more uptight, especially if the letters are scrunched together as well.
Okay, and what about for the T that you made, starting a T in cursive without starting it with a swoop? You know?
Starting at the top and coming down?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you start above the baseline and come down to it without a lead-in stroke, and that might be a T, this is the trait of positiveness. When you see a vertical trait, stroke that comes right down to the baseline stops, or it could then proceed to the right, but it's that vertical structure that's smooth and tight. That is positiveness. It's someone who isn't stubborn. They know what they believe, but they're willing to listen to the other person's point of view, whereas stubbornness won't. Stubbornness has no interest in the other person's point of view. That's really easy to see. You'll see it in T's a lot. They're tent formations. See the open tent? At the bottom, it has to, and the wider it is, the worse it is. This is somebody standing like this. And they're just not going to move. They're not going to budge on anything. Young lady.
What about crossing the T's without lifting the pen?
Oh, so
End of a word.
is that how you do it? Crossing the T without lifting. So do you mean like this?
Yes.
Okay. This, whenever you see the structure that goes straight down, a positive stroke to the baseline, turns up, goes back into the past, has a loop that brings in imagination and then moves forward again. That is a wonderful trait in handwriting. It's the persistence tie. And the persistence tie can be found all over the place in writing. Some people use, an and symbol, a plus sign. They'll do a plus like that. And it's still a persistence tie. Must have a loop on it. And this is someone, even if you get knocked down, you can get back up and keep going. It's a tremendous trait of leadership as well. Lady in the corner.
The lowercase I, where they place the dot.
Where you place the dot in the lowercase I,
Or if they draw a circle above the I.
or if they draw a circle above the I instead of a dot. Let's have a look at the lowercase I, shall we? The lowercase I is a very interesting letter, insofar as it will flawlessly tell you attention to detail. So the closer the person puts the dot to the stem of the I, the stronger their power of keeping track of details, keeping on track of things in their schedule. If it's really, really rigid, it'll be perfectionism, but this is just a good attention to detail. Now, if it begins to move to the side of the letter, like this, it's starting to get off center. We are now seeing the trait of impatience. They're in such a rush, they can't even take the time to come back that billionth of an inch and dot it. Here's where you go, woo! Or it's random. Now, the further to the right the dot would be, the greater the impatience. Likewise, if the dots are all lovely little dots, they're circular, not dashes, that is a great trait in a mate. It's the trait of loyalty. They're taking the time to get all their ducks in order and just doing what is right. Now, suppose it isn't a dot. Suppose it's a dash. Now, we are seeing irritability. This person is just irritable, pissed off a lot of the time. The more you see it, the stronger it's going to show in the writing. So, and the stronger it is going to be as a force in the personality. Dots that are I's and J's that are dashes are no longer dots. They are an irritable personality. And if you move it to the right, suppose it's a dash and it's over here as well. Now you're adding impatience to irritability, and this person's going to be angry a lot of the time. You're going to know as soon as you see that writing that there'll be things that will set them off. Likewise, the direction of the dash also tells you something. If the dash on the letter I goes downward, like that. This is somebody who will nag incessantly. You can see a nagger, male or female, from their handwriting very quickly. Downward dashed eye dots. And I'll just look at that. If a couple comes to me, shows me their writing, and I'll look and he's got that in his writing or something, and she's got it in hers. I'll say, you got to just get off each other's cases about everything. You're bugging each other. Nagging never works. And of course, if the person has a letter I with a circle, this is a spotlight. And a spotlight means they're just a little bit special. We'll see this a lot with teenage girls and Enneagram 4s as well. So keep in mind, the more extreme the decoration of the eye, little stars, little crescent moons, hearts, amphibious landing craft, whatever they're putting there. The more detail that they're spending time to put something in, the stronger the effect. Yes, sir?
What about like arches with a dot or like a half circle?
For like artists with what?
Arches in the dot for the eye? Or like
Arching it.
Or like a half circle?
Okay, then what you're seeing, anytime you see a structure in a letter I that you don't understand, you go to the letter T to explain it. So here's why. This gives you the details, whereas the T gives you the drive to succeed, how high you set your goals and so on. Now with the T, when we see an arched T-bar like this, is that the formation you're saying with the I?
So like a T, yeah, or an I dot that's actually an arch.
Yes, so it's the same thing with the T. Anytime you have a T, but the bar is not a bar, it's an arch of some kind, even slightly, that's an amazing trait. So I is just that to a much finer degree. This is much more in your face, huge. The trait is this. It's someone, the T shows you your willpower. And the T is someone who is using their willpower, their great strength, to attempt to control something about themselves they do not like. So it could be, just a personality disorder. It could be kleptomania. You don't know what it is. But when you see that, we see they're applying force of will to themselves. And these people will often be exhausted because it takes an awful lot of energy to keep certain personality traits under wraps. At the back there, Chris.